Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Kat. Thanks for joining me for another yoga video, another yoga session. I hope you're all doing really well during this time. I wanted to create a session today focusing just on recentering and recalibrating ourselves. I'm finding it increasingly challenging to manage everything that's happening outside right now. And this is where I really enjoy turning to yoga because it's something that I can control. It helps remind me that I am in full control and I can manage my own body, my own movement, my own breath and my own mind. So that is my intention for today, that this is a chance just to bring everything back in again and focus back on the inside and on yourself and on the things that are within the realms to be able to manage. So we're focusing a lot on strengthening today, strengthening the arms, the back and the core. And so I hope you really enjoy. The oils that I've got going today are a really lovely blend of ginger and grapefruit. These are doTERRA oils, so I can also place them on the palm of my hand to get started because they are safe for that. If you do have oils that you like burning or putting in the diffuser, I encourage you to think about doing that and maybe putting a diluted combination of oils on your skin to start with. But it's such a really lovely way to help bring you into the space and start to commence a practice with a bit of scent, a bit of the benefits of what essential oils and the aroma can do. And ginger and grapefruit because it's refreshing and invigorating and helps to stimulate and waken up my mind. And ginger because it's also very warming but also very grounding, and I feel very stabilized and very solid when I have sort of ginger around me. And ginger is great for digestion too if you place some on your tummy. So we're putting the oils aside now and we're just allowing ourselves to just arrive into the space and just begin our practice. So we're going to just close the eyes and just find a comfortable way to sit. You might be cross-legged, you might be on a chair for this, you might be sitting on your knees, whichever way you feel most comfortable to start your yoga session today. And just closing the eyes, and by doing that, we're just bringing that mind's attention back inwards, back into ourselves. And we're starting just with a small visualization, and the visualization of a spiral. So we're going to start by first visualizing a really large circle around ourselves. So a really big circle, as far as if your eyes were open, as far as your open eyes could see. So a really big circle around you. Visualizing that circle. And using your mind just to gently notice any sounds that might be happening in that outer circle. And starting now to use your mind's attention to just gently bring that circle gently in towards yourself. So visualizing it just gently spiraling around, and then slowly spiraling inwards, closer in towards your body. Visualizing using your mind, drawing the circle in and in. Gently turning that attention closer in. The circle is closer now, much closer towards your body. Until the spiral just starts to circle just close by your body. Just close, almost as if you're in the eye of the spiral. And the spiral slows down And the spiral transitions gently in towards inside your body. And it settles somewhere in your abdomen, maybe between your navel and your lower rib cage, in this space, in this upper abdomen, sort of lower ribs, this space here. And turning your mind's attention now to that spiral, just spiraling inside of you. It's your center, it's your core. And this is where we're focusing today. So the session is really just bringing our attention, our mind's gaze in towards our core, towards the inner part of our torso, to the parts of ourselves that we have the ability to manage and control. Breathing deeply into that space. And very gently we're going to continue to warm up the body by bringing the head down towards the chest, so the chin comes down towards the chest and the head just rocks gently from side to side, creating a sort of crescent moon or a semicircle just at the front of your body, to allow the head just gently to rock from side to side, feeling a gentle stretch on each side of your neck and the back of your neck. Great. And then returning the head to center, and we're going to rotate the shoulders. So visualizing circular motion and spirals, we're helping the body just to waken up. We're helping to bring the mind's attention in towards the physical space here, the part of you that's here on the mat. Other way. And bringing the arms out beside, so nice, long, straight arms, shoulders down away from the ears, and just waving out the arms to make little circles with the hands. So circling one way as we make the circles gently bigger and bigger, really warming up the shoulders, activating the arms. Beautiful. And then rotating the other way. Big circles, and then slowly making the circles smaller and smaller. Great. Until the arms are just practically pulsing in small circles. Beautiful. Bringing the hands towards the knees. We're taking a Sufi grind. So again, we're creating a circular, spirally kind of motion with the hips and the lower abdomen. So hands on knees, shoulders down away from the ears, tall spine. And then we're going to bring the hips over to one side and create a bit of a circle, as if we're trying to draw a circle with our sort of belly button, and then bringing it back, and then bringing it forward. So just conscious to make sure the sit bones are still seated firmly on the ground, that the knees are still pointed down towards the earth, that they're not sort of peeling up as we do this, so that we're sitting tall and straight. And we're just aiming to create a bit of a circular motion with the hips, and then the other way. Beautiful. Okay, now from here, returning back to center, we're going to come up into table. So transitioning over into table position. Okay, we're again positioning the hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips, tall straight table, elbows pointed in towards each other, the inner elbows pointing in towards each other, so the outer elbows pointing outwards. And from here, we're going to really warm up the core by bringing one leg back. We're going to point the toes and just bring the tippy toes to the floor behind you. So really tall, straight leg, activating the full leg. And then using that really active, strong leg, we're going to just use the core to bring the leg out towards the side, to a roughly 90-degree angle from the torso, and then bringing it back in and returning it back to table. Taking the other leg out, doing the same, really pointing out the toe, strong active leg, gently guiding it to the side, 90-degree angle, and bringing it back. So we'll take a few more on each leg, straightening and sliding to the side. And remembering to breathe deeply. Great, one more on each leg. Really feeling the motion in the hip, in the full leg as you're making a really strong circle. Now you're either going to carry on exactly like that, so continuing in table to bring the leg back and move to the side slowly and intentionally. Carry on exactly as you are. Alternatively, if you want to step it up a bit further, you might want to come into plank. So we're going to take a high plank. So really focusing on a really tall, straight back. Making sure we're not sort of tucking the tailbone up into the air, but that we're tall and we're straight. And again, really activating the core, bringing the one leg back, bringing the leg to the side, and the other leg doing the same. It's hard to talk and do this pose at the same time. So whichever variation you're doing, making sure you're breathing really deeply, strongly. Great. And if you're in plank, you're coming back down to your knees. If you're already on the table, just repositioning and realigning the hands and the legs below you. Beautiful. Now we're going to bring the body into a side plank. So it's a modified plank to start with. So we're going to do that by bringing the back leg, so whichever leg you want to start with, bringing it out to a 90-degree angle. So this is going to feel a little bit strange. So the leg that we're moving into, we're just bringing it out to a 90-degree angle. So we're still on the knee, we're just bringing the leg out. So I'm going to take this leg back to a 90-degree angle. I'm going to position the hand so that it's preparing to take the weight of my torso. I'm going to bring the back leg out, pointing, tall, straight. So my tip of my toe, my knee, and my hand are almost in one straight line. And as the final part of this pose, I'm going to bring the arm up and straighten the arm up into the air. So I'm pulling away from the torso with the leg that's extended. I'm pulling away from the torso with the arm that's up in the air. And here you might want to pause, or you might want to bring your arm above your head, stretching and feeling a nice deep stretch on the side of your body. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to transition to gate pose. So we're going to do that by planting the foot into the ground. So the extended leg, we're planting the whole sole of the foot flat onto the ground. And we're going to bring the whole body up. So that we're sort of balancing on the knee that's on the ground is tall and straight. This extended leg is pulling away from the body and the foot is pressed into the ground. And the arms are out beside. Great. In gates pose, we're gently going to bring the arm on the same side as the knee, the bent knee. We're going to bring that up into the air. So we're almost kind of a backwards K shape, kind of. And then we're going to bring that top arm and stretch it over. So we're stretching out the side of the body, this side here. This arm is just gently resting on your leg. It's not pressing down. It's just gently resting. And we're leaning over to the side, aiming to keep the heart looking towards the sky, stretching out the side of the body, breathing. returning back to modified plank. Great. Now we're going to breathe here for a minute. If you're inclined, you might want to take a full side plank in this instance. And if you're doing that, you're maybe bringing your hand to your hip or maybe bringing your hand to the ground until you transition. You're coming up with both legs and then stepping up into side plank and breathing deeply. Or you're in the modified plank, then stay there if you are. And now returning the hands back to the floor, coming back into table. Great. So we'll take that same sequence, but on the other side. So I'm going to turn around, but you stay whichever way you can to still see the screen. So from here, we're going to take the back leg now, so the opposite leg that we did before. We're bringing that leg now to a 90-degree angle away from the torso. We're extending the leg out so that the tippy toe is just gently grazing the ground. We're shifting the weight into the arm, ready to support the full torso. So our hand, our knee, and our tippy toe is in one straight line. And we're coming up with the arm. So we're in side plank, modified side plank. Still using this knee and this leg to help support you up. Bringing the top arm maybe over your head, stretching it out. Beautiful. Breathing. Back to center. Now we're preparing to come into Gates pose again. So we're going to do that by planting the foot flat onto the ground, providing a solid base. And we're going to bring the body up. So we're now leaning on this knee. I'm just going to come over to the mat. Leaning on this knee, our extended leg, the foot is pressed into the mat, and our arms are up beside the body. Great. And then from here, we're going to gently lean over the extended leg, arching, opening up the side of the body, bringing the heart, gesturing it towards the sky so that we're not sort of collapsing over the leg, but that we're opening up and really bending from the side. Great. Breathing. Awesome. And back. And then coming back into modified plank. So pausing here and coming back into modified plank. And as with the other side, if you feel inclined, you might want to transition into a full side plank or stay where you are in modified plank. If you're coming into full side, you might want to use your hand to help prop you up. You're coming into the side and extending your arms up, your arm up into the air. Great, wherever you are, breathing deeply. Awesome. Bringing the hand down, back to table. And from here, let's take a little rest pose in child's pose. So bring the toes together, knees almost as wide as the mat, sitting back onto your feet, and just extending out into extended child's pose. Breathing deeply, allowing the heart to just settle back into a quieter rhythm. It's quite a warm, activating sequence. So you might be feeling a bit of warmth, a bit of heat. Another deep, full breath here. Great. We're going to come back up and we're going to start to take a few vinyasas. Again, really focusing on generating that heat and that warmth. So coming back into table and preparing now to come up into downward facing dog. So we do that by tucking the toes under, by pressing the hands into the mat, and then being guided by the tailbone, bringing the tailbone up into the air, into downward facing dog. Bending the knees alternately and stretching out the straightened leg just to feel the hamstrings
opening up and activating. And then pausing in downward dog, finding a little bit of stillness. So just breathe here. Maybe keeping the knees a little bit bent, but by doing that, you're allowing your tailbone to come higher into the air, straightening out from the wrists up onto your tailbone. Great. From here, we're going to transition into high plank. So coming forward, coming into a nice, tall, straight high plank, taking a nice deep breath. And then lowering down onto the mat, flat onto the mat. We're peeling up into a low cobra in the first instance. So hands below shoulders, legs quite activated and strong, pointing the toes out. And then peeling the head up gently into low cobra, taking a nice deep breath. Here, being able to raise the hands because you're not using them at this low cobra to bring yourself up. Nice deep breath. We're curving and bending the spine. And lower down. We're coming back up into downward facing dog. Great, we're going to take 2 more vinyasas, slightly deepening the back bend each time, but just knowing that you've got the option to take it down a step. So depending on how your back feels, you might want to continue doing low cobra each time, but I'm going to offer slightly deeper variations on the next 2 cycles. But really be guided by your own body and what you feel is right, what you feel comfortable doing. So from here, we're peeling back down into high plank, taking a deep breath in high plank, coming back down into the mat this time. So again, you've got the option for low cobra or coming into a high cobra. And this time we're really using the hands to bring the torso up from the ground. But we're taking it higher. So we're pressing the hands into the mat and we're peeling up. So hips are still in contact with the mat. Legs are still quite activated, pointing the toes out. Hips and legs are in contact with the mat. Torso is up, back is bent, shoulders down away from the ears. And we're in a high cobra, breathing here. If that doesn't feel right, come back down into a low cobra. Breathing. And gently lowering. And then coming back up into downward facing dog. So as always, there's options and variations. Be guided by your body, not by anyone else. Great. Deep breath in downward facing dog. Okay, we're coming back into plank. We're lowering down again onto the mat. So you've got the option now of low cobra, high cobra, or alternatively I'll show you upward facing dog. So for upward facing dog, the only things in contact with the mat are our hands and the tops of our feet. So we start by pressing the tops of our feet firmly into the mat, really activating and strengthening the legs, pressing the hands down into the mat. And we're going to peel the body up, but we're going to keep lifting. So now we're still bending the back, peeling the head up towards the sky, shoulders down away from the ears, and lower. So again, take the variation that felt best for you, and then peeling back up into downward facing dog. Great. Taking another deep breath here. Good work. Now from here, we're just going to continue to really strengthen the arms and the upper body strength. So we're going to do that by coming back into plank. Maybe in the first instance, bringing the knees down to the ground. We're going to come into dolphin plank or elbow plank. And we're going to do that by bringing the arms down onto the ground, sort of straight. You can bring them together if you prefer to use the support. What we're aiming to do is keep the hands flat onto the mat Arms just directly, so hands just directly in front of the elbows. Pressing down. We're going to use that as the base as we come up into plank. We're going to breathe in plank. And then we're going to transition to dolphin pose. So we're going to bring the toes, tiptoeing the toes in, and then bringing the head down towards the floor, just hovering over the floor, not pressing into the floor. And then we're going to transition back to plank. So really being guided by the hips, but really relying on upper arm strength and shoulder strength. To do this, we're going to just take a few of these transitions. So from dolphin, back, to dolphin plank, and then back to dolphin, and breathe. Knees down to the ground, and then sitting back down into child's pose. Great work. It's quite a warm day here, so I'm feeling already quite sweaty, quite warm. The ginger's really helping with that as well. Right, we're going to peel back up, coming back up into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Forward into plank. Lower onto the ground, so we're lying flat, straight on the ground. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So again, it's another back bend, but we're really just going to pause in it and allow to find our breath. So we're going to come into Sphinx by, again, really activating the legs, pointing the toes out. And we're peeling up from the crown of the head and just propping our elbows down onto the ground below us and peeling up. So pressing the hands, pressing the elbows down into the ground and just pausing for a moment in this back bend. Just bringing your attention to your alignment. So again, really active legs. Straight, strong, pointed toes, all the way up to the hips. Really activating the glutes and the core muscles. Shoulders, you're thinking that bringing your attention towards them, bringing them down away from the ears. Opening the heart out. Maybe gently with the gaze, looking gently up towards the sky. Pausing there, finding your breath. Great. And from there, just gently peeling the body back down, allowing it to rest for a moment. And then peeling the body back up and taking another rest in child's pose. So allowing the back, so you bent it this way, we're now allowing it to just curl back over and reset the spine in a child's pose. Deep breaths. Great. Peeling the body back up, and we're going to transition to a seated pose as we bring the legs out straight in front of us. We're going to take a gentle twist. So we're going to start with the legs sort of straight out in front of us into Dandasana or staff pose. Toes are coming up towards the sky, really seated on our sit bones. Sitting up nice and tall from the hips, tall straight back. Great. Now for our first variation, we're bringing one of the knees up and we're resting the foot just gently beside the extended knee. We're keeping it exactly there. Okay, depending on how that feels, you might want to keep that there. Alternatively, you might want to lift the foot and bring it to the outside of the extended leg. So long as the foot is flat on the ground and so long as both of your sit bones are still in contact with the mat. If they're not, then bring the foot back over onto the natural side for your leg to sit. Okay, so from here to the side of the extended leg. We're going to bring that arm up into the air, so stretching that out. And we're going to bring the elbow of that arm to touch the knee. And then we're going to gently bring the hand behind the body and just twist. So the real gesture of this motion, of this movement, is to bring the head up towards the sky, so really straightening and strengthening the back. And then on each exhale, just gently finding a slightly deeper twist. So inhaling, straightening the back, exhaling, just gently twisting a bit further back. Twisting and breathing. Really visualizing a wringing out of your back, your torso, your ribs, your lungs. Great, and returning the body back to center, restoring the leg back straight, taking it onto the other side. So lifting the knee up, foot beside the extended knee. And again, depending on how that feels on this side, you might notice a slight difference on each side of your body. If it feels okay, you might want to bring the foot over to the other side. Extending the arm on the same side of the body as the extended leg. Bringing the elbow towards the knee. And we're going to just, again, find that gentle twist. So inhaling as we come up, straighten the spine, inhale. And exhale as we gently look over the shoulder towards the back of the room. Breathing and twisting. And just breathing some softness in. So just noticing you tightening or tensing your hand or your shoulders. And just breathing some softness, allowing that to just release and relax. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Lovely, restoring the feet. And from here we're just going to lie down. So we're going to close our practice together, either by lying down flat on the mat in Shavasana, taking our final Shavasana, or if you're more comfortable, you might want to be seated for this. See whichever pose most calls to you and most feels like you want to be in it. If you're in Shavasana, just allowing the whole body to just open up and relax into the mat. So feet as wide as the mat, gently splayed to the side, legs are relaxed. Just tuning in your attention, because we did do a lot of back bends today, just tuning your attention into your lower spine, your lower back. If it feels a bit tight or uncomfortable, you might want to bring your knees up, rest your knees together and bring your feet as wide as the mat. So that's just allowing the back to feel a little bit more supported. See how that feels. If your back's feeling fine, you might want to bring your legs back out and straight. Tall, straight spine, shoulders down away from the ears. Just allowing the body to find its own natural breath rhythm again. We're not controlling or forcing the breath anymore, we're just allowing it to return to what it naturally does so well and just find its own pace. But just using your mind to notice the breath as it comes in and out of your body. Maybe using this last few moments to bring your attention back to that beautiful spiral in the inner core. That circular spiral that is constantly rotating in your abdomen, the true center of your being. Bringing your attention there and knowing that you can bring your attention back to that spiral, back to that core at any point throughout the day. At any point you need reminding that this is what is within your control. This is what you have the power to manage. And by doing that, the side effects of that is that everything else around you, the things you can't control or can't manage, they slowly melt just gently away, and you're strengthening and focusing on your inner self.
Now I invite you to stay on the mat for as long as you like, as long as you need to allow the practice, that warmth and that energy that you've created and generated today, allowing that to settle within the body. Stay here for as long as you need. I'll close the video here by wishing you all a very blessed, a very happy Namaste.